are here because the outside world rejects you.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another podcast where we break down the latest Ninja Turtles comics. So the main story, the big title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This was the book that recently got relaunched. So they started with a whole new issue, number 1. And today we're going to be covering issue number 5. I am the Old Turtle Den. This is my co-host, Stacy Jones. And just for those who may be new here, this is issue 5 of the relaunch. These turtles have had 150 issues before this story, but that was like one big continuous run. And then they said, we're going to relaunch the comics. And so they started with a whole new issue, number 1. But all that happened is still part of their history in those 150 issues. This is just kind of like a fresh start for them, for readers as well to jump on, and a whole new writer, whole new art team. And that's kind of what's going on here. That's why we're only on issue 5. But yeah, this is the most current book that's out right now when it comes to, so actually issue 6 is already out. We're going to cover that right after we cover issue 5 here. But yeah, this is like kind of like what's going on right now. So just real quick, don't have to go into a lot of detail. What did you think of issue 5?
Yeah, so issue 5, I liked it.
Okay.
It answers some of the questions that I was speculating. But I liked it. What did you think about it?
Yeah, it definitely, we get to know our villain a little more.
Yeah.
At least more than we did before.
Yeah.
We kind of see his motivations. We see what his relationship we kind of see what his relationship is with Karai.
Yeah.
Because he had talked about Karai in issue 1 at the very end of issue 1. But we hadn't heard anything since. Now you kind of understand the dynamic a little bit.
Yep.
We get a little bit of Casey Jones.
Yes.
And we understand more now what's going on, the motives.
Exactly.
There's still a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Which we'll delve into as we break down the book. But yeah, overall, you can tell things are picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw a little bit of issue 6, the one that came out after this one that just came out, which we'll cover. And that one, it looks like things are really picking up. I saw a preview for issue 7 as well. Things like really pick up in issue 7, it looks like. Yeah. So I'm excited. You could tell. We had been talking about that when we were reviewing the previous issues. It kind of felt like, oh, this is like a slow burn that's slowly building up to something. We were right. It's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's happening. So, yeah, we're going to jump into a quick recap, of issues 1 through 4. So the ones that came out before this, just so any new readers can kind of remember what happened. And just really quickly, we're not going to spend too much time on it, but just so everybody knows what's happening as we dive into the issue 5 breakdown. So let's go ahead, jump into it.
So issue 1 was Raphael's.
Yes.
He's in jail, or was in jail. The Foot Clan attempted to capture him. Obviously, they didn't. But then he realizes that they're after his brothers too. So he goes and he warns Mikey. Yeah. And then issue 2 is Mikey's issue.
Yes.
And he is in Japan. He's an actor. And at the end, Raphael, he gets there. Yeah. And they face off the Foot Clan.
Yeah, so now there's two turtles together by the end of issue 2. And then issue 3 had to deal with Leonardo. And I believe he was in India. He was doing some soul searching when he is also attacked by the Foot Clan. He uses one of the Foot Clan helicopters to kind of see where their next target was going to be. Yeah. And he finds out it's Michelangelo in Japan. So he takes that helicopter and heads over to Japan, where by the end of it, he does meet up with Raphael, who's just getting there, and Michelangelo. So now there's 3 turtles together by the end of issue 3. Issue 4, you find out a little bit of what Donatello's been up to. You see that he's alone. He's been in like a mutant fighting pit for a few months, planning his escape. And on the day he escapes is the day the Foot Clan coincidentally come after him as well.
They get to him,
But he's able to deal with them single-handedly. Because he's kind of like, you could tell he's he's gone through more than the other turtles.
Yeah.
Especially through the last 150
Yeah.
issues, which you talked about earlier. And so, yeah, he's a little more gritty than the other three turtles. And he takes on the whole Foot Clan that comes after him, at least that group by himself. And then just as he does this is when Michelangelo, Raphael, and Leonardo arrive.
Yeah.
They thought they were going to save him, but he didn't need any saving.
Yeah.
And then you see that his brothers are like shocked when they see him, though, because he's like physically and mentally deteriorated because of his overuse of magic in the last 150 issues.
Yeah, because he's been traveling, right?
Time traveling, all
traveling.
that. Yes. And so he was warned that this could happen, but he had to out of necessity because he had to get back to his family. So he had to do it more and more and more. And because of this,
he kind of went a little crazy.
Yeah.
Melted his brain.
Yeah, he's cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still traces of Donatello there.
Yeah.
But he's changed.
Yeah.
He's a little different.
Yeah.
So that's where we are currently at in the story. At least us here on the podcast.
Yeah.
There's the current issues that are coming out. They are one more ahead of us. We will cover that one
soon.
But what's causing the Foot Clan to go after the turtles? That's kind of like a question mark. I feel like this book somewhat answers.
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, at the end of the last 150 issues, there was a truce between Karai and the turtles.
Yeah.
And so why are they now going after the turtles? And the answers are not also just from this book.
Yeah.
We also dived into
Destiny of the Foot Clan, right?
Yeah, the Destiny of the Foot Clan, which was a 5-issue miniseries that came out right before this relaunch started. And we also delved into
Mutant Nation.
The Mutant Nation comic.
Yeah.
And those also answer questions about what's going on. So now we're like fully caught up.
Yeah.
We had put those books kind of on the back burner for a little bit because we wanted to focus on the main title. But they are necessary, I feel like, to read, to know what's fully going on.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you just read the main title, you can kind of piece things together.
Yeah.
But if you really want to know what's going on and just have more insight, those side books, I think you should read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead. Jump into issue 5. That's the recap, by the way. And we're going to go ahead and break issue 5 down. Okay, so issue 5 is called Return to New York, Part 5.
Yeah.
So this whole Return to New York thing is like one big arc. So the arc hasn't ended yet. And it's got a subtitle called The Law of the Foot. This was released December 18th, 2024. So again, we're a little behind, but we're catching up quick. This was written by Jason Aaron, the new writer that's in charge of the whole series. And this one had art by Darick Robertson from The Boys comics. He's the co-creator of The Boys.
That's right.
So
great show, by the way.
Yes. And all these first 5 issues have had a different artist. Same writer, but different artist on each one. So that, I think, ends with this one. Juan Ferreira takes over as like the main artist.
Yeah.
From after this one, moving forward for, I think, just the foreseeable future.
Okay.
Usually when that happens, they'll stick around for a good like 10 issues, maybe more. And then you'll get another new regular artist. And then it's kind of like in chunks like that.
Yeah.
So that was cool, though, to get the different artists on each issue for the first 5. That was interesting. Anyways, let's jump into the story. Okay, so opening scene starts us off at the New York City State Supreme Court. There's a bunch of press, there's protesters, a lot of commotion going on. The new corrupt DA, Hale, arrives. So you can tell that they're all there for him.
Yeah.
He arrives with this new like foot patrol posse,
Yeah.
like security group that he has.
Yeah.
And they look different than what we're used to seeing like the Foot Clan look like.
Yeah.
They look more like a SWAT team.
Even their logo. It's a picture of a foot, like the
bottom
bottom
of
of the shoe.
instead of like the actual foot
logo that we're used to see.
or the dragon foot.
Yeah,
So
there we go. Yeah.
Either one, or they're both like memorable Foot Clan logos, but this one is completely different. It's an actual like shoe. It looks like he's there because there's charges against this foot patrol group. One of the reporters says that they have been targeting mutants on purpose and attacking them. We next get what is like an inner monologue from Hale.
Yeah.
So he's talking to us, the reader.
A little bit of like his backstory, right? Yeah.
And we jump into a flashback of his backstory here. We actually see what he went through growing up. And just as he's doing this, just as we're jumping into this flashback, you hear him tell the foot patrol, like, disperse this crowd. And so as we're like going into the flashback, you're kind of jumping back into the present, back and forth.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing like the crowd, they're not just getting like dispersed with like, you know, getting pushed back. They're getting hit with like ninja stars.
Yeah.
They're getting like clubbed in the head. They're bleeding. Like it's getting crazy.
Yeah.
So the flashback starts off with Hale saying, "You think you know me, but that we don't know the first thing about him." He says something about, we think that he was the guy that got bullied when he was a kid and then came to power and now wants to like take out his frustrations and anger on the people that bullied him, right? He says that's what you probably think I am.
Yeah.
But that it was worse than that.
Yeah.
He wasn't bullied. He was just simply ignored.
Yeah.
Nobody ever paid attention to him. They just pretended like he didn't exist.
Yeah.
And we see him when he was younger in school. Like you see him in the cafeteria and he's just kind of eating by himself.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get to see how he dealt with it, though. He says he never cried about it. He never ran to a therapist. He says that instead he used the suffering to toughen himself. And next you see him as a young adult. So he's growing up a little bit. And he says he roared through law school.
Yeah.
Humiliating one professor after another with his like razor sharp debate skills. So he becomes like this prodigy prosecutor.
Yeah.
He says he was the city's youngest prosecutor and he became like a legal legend. And then the inner monologue continues and he says that even with all these accomplishments that the world still found a way to ignore him.
Yeah.
So, and then you see him kind of like, I don't know if it's when he takes office as DA, but you see like the staff that's supposed to be there helping him or whatever. They're kind of like on one corner of the room.
Talking amongst themselves and he's over here just watching like.
Yeah, and then they finally notice him and they're like, "Hey, congratulations," or whatever. And he's like, "You're all fired.
Yeah.
Get out."
So the only place that he doesn't feel ignored or alone is with his parents, his family. He goes to visit them and they're just really nice to him and very like welcoming.
They're like a sweet old couple.
Sweet old couple. Very proud of him. They talk to their friends about, about their son becoming the new DA and all the accomplishments that he's had.
Right.
And so you could just tell that he's very close to his parents.
Yep. Obviously
now having this new job that he has, he's able to buy them a nicer apartment, And so now that they have this nice apartment, they feel somewhat like, oh, they're rich.
Yeah.
But it's just like a better part of town, I guess.
Yeah.
That he's able to buy them a nicer apartment.
The parents are like so humble that just like a small upgrade now
is like
rich.
They feel so rich, and it's something that he wanted to do for them, and because he loves them so much and he's so close to them.
Right. And this is where the story gets a little dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super sad, super tragic.
Yeah.
So someone else, maybe because of how happy they were that they got this like upgrade and this new apartment and stuff, maybe at least that's what Hale thinks.
Yeah.
Someone else thought they were rich.
Yeah.
And that they end up getting robbed. At least that's what the cops told him.
Yep.
And during the robbery, it was a robbery gone bad. They were killed.
Yeah.
The parents were killed. And you see Hale walk in on them. So he must have been the one that discovered the bodies.
Yeah.
And they're like shredded. Like,
yeah, it's like they're like,
and we talked
scratched. Yeah.
And we talked about this in the preview in the last podcast.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it was just like a regular robbery.
No.
We had said that we thought it was a mutant.
Yeah.
Because like a human wouldn't be able to do that.
No, I don't think so.
At least not with like their bare hands.
Yeah.
And you kind of get that confirmed here, that the cops said that the only description they had of the killer was that it looked like an animal.
Yeah.
And for those who are new here, mutants are
living amongst the humans.
Yeah, they're living amongst the humans, yes. Yeah, so people know about them. They have like their own borough now.
Yes,
Called Mutant Town.
That's right, yeah.
So for new readers, Yeah. They're like, the cops are like, yeah, it probably was one of the mutants. They tell him that.
Yeah. So right after his parents' funeral or sometime later.
Yeah, he looks like he's wearing the same clothes.
He looks like he's wearing the same outfit. He goes to a bar. Obviously, like his parents just died.
Yeah.
He just buried them. So he goes to a bar and he's mad and he's upset. And he gets drunk. He starts talking to himself, but also to the bartender is hearing the conversation he's having with himself that, he's saying that he doesn't like the mutants, that they're just these...
I think he calls them losers.
These losers, yeah.
That they're weak and things like that.
That they're weak, exactly. And then all of a sudden we see Bebop and Rocksteady standing behind him.
And just for some context, Bebop and Rocksteady, they work for Karai at this point in the story.
They do.
So you're kind of starting to see
how
that connection was built between him and
exactly,
because he mentioned Karai again at the issue 1.
Yes.
And at this point, it doesn't look like he knew her yet.
No. So they're there for him. You could tell she sent them to go get him.
Yeah, so it looks like Bebop and Rocksteady kind of give him a beating a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you see, the next time you see him, he has like a black eye.
Yeah.
And they take him to Karai at the Foot Clan headquarters. You can tell they're no longer at the bar anymore. Karai welcomes him. She says that he's there, that they're all there for business, the most important type of business, the business of power.
Yep. And by the way, I think the way they drew her in this scene right here, she looks so badass. Like,
yeah,
I love the way they drew Karai in this. She looks really, really cool.
Let's talk about her eye there for a second.
Yeah.
Because some people may not know what the hell is happening because the eye thing there, that was not a thing at the end of the 150 issues of the previous run.
Yeah.
This is a whole new thing that happened in the Destiny of the Foot Clan miniseries that you were talking about earlier. Yeah. I'm just going to cram it into like a quick explanation.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole video in itself, right?
Yeah.
Just breaking that down. So she... in the Destiny of the Foot Clan miniseries, which took place right before this relaunch began, she found out that there is another ninja clan that has claim to the Foot Clan. Yeah. It's like her cousin or something.
It's her cousin, yeah.
Yeah. Because Oroku, Saki, or the Shredder...
Had 4 children.
Had 4 children.
With Kitsune.
With Kitsune, yes. We're cutting deep right now.
Yeah.
Some casual... So yeah, the Shredder had 4 sons. When Shredder went away, because he has to go away, because this was in the past in feudal Japan when he has these 4 sons. And at one point, Kitsune says, hey, you got to kill yourself, but be preserved with ooze or something so that you can come back in the future. Yeah. Because the world needs you in the future. Yeah. Which is our time. Yeah. And so he's gone. And because he's gone, there's they're fighting over who's going to take over the Foot Clan. Yeah. The 4 sons. And one of the sons just kills the other 2 brothers. And one of them's like, don't kill me. I want nothing to do with this. Yeah. I'm out of here. Or no, he goes, I'll be your assistant for a while.
That he doesn't want anything to do with it or something, right?
No, he's like, I'll be your advisor or something.
Yeah, but he doesn't want the position of the leader. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And the guy, the other brother believes him.
So he lets him live.
So he's like, okay, yeah, you'd never be the guy that would want to take this kind of job. And he's his advisor for a while, and then it just doesn't work out. He never listens to his advice, so they just kind of grow apart.
He leaves.
Yeah, he leaves, right?
He leaves.
But when he leaves, he forms his own secret clan, in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now there's a Foot Clan in Japan, and then there's a secret ninja clan in China. I think he called it the Dog Star Clan.
The Dog Star Clan, yep.
And then this group is mastery at invisibility. That's what they focus on. Yeah. So that they were never seen. Nobody knows how many members are in there. Anyways, that's what Shredder's kids did, right? Yeah. But nobody knew about them because they're practicing invisibility and stuff, right? So people only knew about the Foot Clan. Yep. And then the Shredder takes over the Foot Clan when he comes back and all that stuff. And then Karai now has control of the Foot Clan. And Karai's like, I'm in charge of the Foot Clan, right?
Yeah.
No, because the descendant of the Dogstar Clan guy is now here, and he's like, I'm the guy in charge of the Foot Clan. I have a claim to it.
Yeah.
And he's got like cyborg ninjas that are really strong.
Yeah.
And so in order to combat this, Karai was, okay, again, this happened in the past 150 issues at the very end. Karai was given a scroll by the Shredder because the Shredder doesn't want to be with the Foot Clan anymore. He's kind of like a good guy now.
Yeah.
And not only that, the love of his life died. And
Kitsune.
so, yeah, so he's like, he's depressed. He wants to go into a different dimension altogether and just do some soul searching probably. I don't know. We don't know what he's been up to. So Karai, when she gets the scroll, first of all, she was kind of a jerk about it. She goes, it's not even yours to give. Yeah. She's like, this belongs to us anyways. So get out of here. Eat it. And she gets the scroll, and apparently the scroll was like all the magic that the Foot Clan knows about. Yeah. And it's a lot of stuff to master. It would take a lot of time to figure out. But to cut a long story short, Karai finds a way to absorb all the knowledge from that scroll in like one shot. Like she uses like supernatural elements from like the afterlife to pretty much cram all that info into her head all at once. So now she's like a master of Foot Clan magic. But I forgot exactly the details on how, when she does this, like this big dragon type entity goes into her chest and like goes inside of her. Yes. And so now she's like two beings in one body. Yeah. And that's what that eye is. Sorry, that's what we're talking all the time. Because we're trying to explain Karai's eye.
Why she looks the way she looks, her face, her eye.
So that eye is like some type of
it's like this white dragon, but it kind of looks like a lion.
And it's got
green mane. Like I don't know. It's the green hair but it's scaly and it's white.
I've never seen this dragon before. It's not the same dragon from the Pantheon.
No.
Because that one's red. That one's different. Yeah. This is yet to be explained.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why her eye is like that. It's because she's two beings in one. And the Mutant Nation comic, the one that's the side book that's currently coming out, kind of explains that entity within her is causing her to act way different.
Yes, irrational and everything. Yeah, she's just kind of doing things how she wouldn't have done anyways.
Things are like more aggressive, more brazen. Yeah. Not as calculated as how she would be.
Yeah, and she's talking to herself, and she's the only one that can hear the voice in her head.
Talking back to her.
And
they kind of have like debates, it seems like sometimes, but the entity takes over.
Yeah, a lot of times. And it seems like it's getting stronger.
Yeah, because at one point in the Mutant Nation comic, it actually manifests and her body starts changing into like a dragon type body. Yeah. And anyways.
Yeah. So that's that. So that's why she has a eye that's completely different.
It's glowing and it kind of looks like a dragon eye.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the story. She is now talking to Hale. She formally introduces herself, and since he was like this famous prosecutor, she says she knows who he is.
Yeah.
Because I don't think at this point in the story he's the DA yet, by the way. So like him buying his parents the house and everything, he did that on his prosecutor's salary.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so he's not the DA yet. You're finding out why he became the DA. She then tells the foot soldiers to bring somebody in. And you see it's like this mutant that's like freaking out. It's like it's getting dragged in.
Yeah.
And she tells Hale, like, this is the guy that killed your parents.
Yeah.
That the cops couldn't find him, but the Foot Clan has a lot, different ways of getting people, and that he confessed. It didn't even take much for him to confess.
Yeah. Do you really think he did it?
Yeah.
This little
I don't know.
This little mutant, he kind of looks so scared. I don't know if he kind of looks like she just picked up a random mutant that fit the description of how his parents died.
I think it is.
But yeah.
The way she's saying like it confessed so easily, like why it would be yelling like I didn't do it. Like to Hale.
Okay.
But if she's saying if it's saying I did it, then I think it did it.
Yeah.
The explanation that's given is that I think it was around the time the mutant bomb went off and turned a lot of humans mutant.
Mm-hmm.
That happened again in the first 150 issues that came out before this relaunch.
Mm-hmm.
There was a giant mutant bomb that went off in New York that turned a bunch of civilians into mutants.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like this was one of the humans that got mutated and like freaked out, like
maybe
went to the parents' house because it was in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was like looking for help.
Yeah.
And the Karai says that the parents like didn't know what it was, so they started attacking it because at that point nobody knew
like
about mutants.
Yeah.
So they thought it was probably like this monster coming
through their door. Yeah.
And the parents when he's explaining them, like they are sweet and like an old couple and stuff, but he says like, they're strong and like almost like they're not pushovers pretty much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they probably thought, oh, we're getting attacked by like this monster thing.
Yeah.
Let's get it. And
let's jump them.
Yeah. And so the mutant ended up killing them.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And because, it probably wasn't used to its strength because it was used to be human.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know the exact details.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it sounds like happened.
Yeah. Okay.
You can see that Hale doesn't want to believe his parents would do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Karai tells him that it doesn't matter what he believes, that it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's a gift for Hale.
Karai tells him that in the Foot Clan, gifts aren't given, they're earned.
Right.
So then she shows him a spiked club.
Yeah.
And she tells the foot soldiers to release the mutant.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gives Hale the club, kind of like...
No, she drops it in the middle of
That's
the
right.
floor of the room.
She drops it.
Like Joker style. Kind of, remember where he licks the pool stick and he leaves it there? He's like, only one of you can come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she leaves it there for him and kind of like telling him like, well, you're going to have to earn this
gift.
Gift and
or it's gonna kill you.
Or it's gonna kill you, yeah.
One of you guys walking out.
Yeah, exactly. So she's kind of brutal in that way. She's kind of So then Hale says, what is this? Like he doesn't understand what she's trying to do. And it seems like she's trying to have him see how far he can go. Like, does he have a backbone to do this? Like, is he gonna kill the mutant that killed his parents?
Right. Does he have what it takes?
Does he have what it takes? Because she needs to know because she's about to use him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty much what. That's why she's doing this. She wants to use him.
And yeah, you can see that Hale doesn't want to participate in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this whole time that we've seen his backstory, he seems like a bitter person.
Yeah.
But not someone who would want to kill. Like he's just a bitter person.
Yeah.
This is like a step too far. At least it seems like it is. Although this might be like a long game that he's playing.
Yeah.
Because later on, we're already in spoiler territory. So
yeah.
He doesn't have trouble killing at all.
No, he doesn't.
I wonder if he's trying to pull a fast one on Karai here. Let's keep going.
Yep.
So at least as of this moment, it doesn't seem like he wants to kill. He doesn't want to participate in this whole game Karai's trying to do. But you see that the mutant was either told before this, like you either gotta kill or be killed, because the mutant starts going after the spiked club or the mace thing that's on the floor. And this makes Hale like think, oh, I have no choice either. So he starts going for it. But the mutant, since it like got a head start, is getting there quicker. And I think Karai tells one of the foot soldiers to throw ninja stars at the mutant. Yeah, one hits the mutant in the leg, I think.
Slows it down,
giving Hale the advantage.
She throws a ninja star at him.
Yeah. So because of this, Hale gets to the mace, the spike club thing first. And he picks it up. And at least at this point, it doesn't seem like he wants to kill the mutant.
Yeah. He doesn't want to go through with it.
No. But then he starts remembering his parents. And this starts getting him upset.
Yeah.
And he calls the mutant a monster, like, and then it does look like he's going to kill the mutant. He lifts the mace up. He's about to smash the mutant's head in. And just as he's about to, Karai stops him. She grabs his arm, and pretty much like he passed the test.
Yep.
He can stomach it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Killing if he has to.
Yep. Hale begins to cry.
Right.
And he starts to feel bad because he's like, I almost killed him. Like, I almost got him.
I can't believe I almost did that. Yeah.
And Karai actually is recording this incident.
Yeah. There you go.
And so she's basically blackmailing him.
Yeah, she's
right
pretty much,
because she's saying like, unless you do what I said.
Yeah.
Then
I'm gonna show everybody this side of you.
Yeah, that what you were about to do. And so, so she's using him, and then he says no. He doesn't want anything to do with like breaking the law and stuff like that. So Karai tells him, I don't need you to break the law. I need you to become the law.
Yeah.
In other words.
That's what she presents him with.
With like, the button of vote Hale.
Yeah. So she's pretty much the one that kicked off his DA career because he was just a prosecutor at this time. And Karai, I don't know, she just must have put the dots together. Like, this is a really qualified person who just went through a very terrible event, so she can manipulate him to do whatever she wants in a very powerful position. It seems like.
So she's definitely manipulating him.
He's manipulating her
as well. Yeah.
They're manipulating.
They're both doing shady stuff. Yeah. So she's manipulating him, but I don't know. Like, I feel like she's definitely manipulating him, but I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see in the next issues. But I want to say she killed his parents to do this on purpose. Why would she? How would she know? I feel like there's something else to it because they're slashed up. Maybe she used like her grandfather. I mean, her the Shredder's armor. Or one of the.
You think we're gonna get Karai Shredder? Maybe.
Yeah, something because. How is it that she just happens to know that she found this mutant? It happens to have the claws.
Right.
Like, I feel like she had this all planned out, I feel, to do this, to have this guy.
Maybe they find a way to make the dragon that went inside her possess her to become the new Shredder.
And then that's what.
Because in the 2003 cartoon, she is the Shredder.
Yes.
At some point.
Yeah.
At one point. She's not the Shredder at the beginning, but like towards the middle of the show, she becomes the Shredder.
Sorry. But that's my...
we were at the part where it cuts back over to Hale's monologue.
Okay.
And you hear him say that for this like running for DA, he was ready for that. Like, he wasn't ready to kill or whatever, but he was ready for this part, becoming the DA. And that he seized the moment because it presented itself, and he's like, you know what? It's kind of like where I was going anyway, so why not? Let's do it. Yeah. Even if it's for Karai.
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks he can outsmart Karai. You know, earlier was saying he would humiliate his professors in college. So he's always felt superior to the people that are above him. So maybe he feels the same way about Karai, that he can outsmart her.
Right.
So he's like, I'm kind of in a pinch, but maybe I can get her.
Right.
So we cut back over to the present. We're back at the courthouse now. And you see that the foot squad, or whatever they're called, the group, Hale's a group of foot soldiers. They're still attacking the crowd that's there.
Yeah.
But it's at this moment that Casey Jones is arriving. Like, he's probably noticed the commotion in the city, and he's like, what the heck's going on over here? And he doesn't like what he's seen. And for those who don't know, he's kind of an advisor to the Foot Clan at this point in the story. But is kind of like getting pushed to the side recently since Karai got possessed by the dragon.
I say he was, because she chokes him out in Destiny of the Foot Clan at the last. She chokes him out.
Was that Mutant Nation, I think?
I think that was.
It was one of the two. Yeah. She's kind of like, she's like, yeah, you're right. She did kind of choke him out.
Tells him she's no longer with them.
That's right. He just got like kicked out.
Yeah.
But anyways, before he got kicked out,
He was.
he was, and
An
they weren't
advisor.
doing stuff like this.
No.
And so he's probably like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and because of this, he starts attacking the foot soldiers. He's like,
Yeah.
well, I got to do something about this.
Yeah.
But there's just too many foot soldiers, and eventually the Foot Clan, restrain him.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit of a time jump then after this, because we're no longer at the courthouse. We're now in that like abandoned building that Hale has his foot soldier meetings in. And the Foot Clan bring in Casey Jones to meet Hale.
Yeah.
You can see that Hale knows about Casey because he says your lawless like vigilante role that you've played in the city is no longer going to be tolerated. We're not doing stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
And this causes Casey to yell at him. He pretty much says, "You're Karai's lapdog. What do you know?" type stuff. And that he wants to talk to the real boss, Karai. Like, where is she?
And he's like, well, she's indisposed. Like, she's busy elsewhere doing something else.
Right.
And we see her entering like a doorway of sorts.
Yeah, it cuts to a scene of Karai and where she went. We don't see exactly. It's like a tease.
Yes.
The room she's entering is like this big, like grandiose room, like giant walls, right? Big doors. And you see the Foot Clan logo, like the real one, the dragon foot, like on all the walls.
Yeah.
And these two big doors open and like smoke comes out of it.
Yeah.
And she's like walking into this room.
Right.
That you can't really see what's inside of it other than this like really bright light in the back.
Yeah.
So that's what Karai's up to. That's where she went.
She doesn't want to be disturbed.
What do you think's going on here? Like, where's she going?
I think she's playing around more with the magic.
Yeah.
With the... Well, she doesn't have the scrolls anymore because she burned them in her issue that we were talking about earlier.
So all the magic that she got crammed into her head all at once with the power of the dragon or whatever. Once she absorbs all that knowledge of all the Foot Clan's magic ever, she says she doesn't want anybody else to have this these techniques. And so she burned the scrolls.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I already know it.
Yeah.
I've mastered all of it with the help of the dragon. And if I burn the scroll, this is the only copy.
Yeah.
So nobody will ever be able to defeat her if she does this. So that's why she burned the scroll. Anyways, yeah, she's going into this room.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's going into a different, like...
Dimension,
realm or something, because...
It kind of looks like a portal.
It looks like a portal, and you can see that the symbols on the wall kind of look like the Foot Clan symbol.
Yeah, they look a little different, like glowing, and there's like slash marks through them.
Yes.
Almost like Doctor Strange, like little symbols.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean,
Shredder's in another dimension, but he's a good guy now.
He's a good guy.
But maybe, with the power of magic, she is able to brainwash him. Because I've been saying this since this relaunch started. I'm like, I always thought it was interesting. I'm like, dang, what are they going to do without the Shredder? Like, how do you relaunch a Turtles comic and not have a Shredder as the villain at some point? This may be a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems like you need the Shredder at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's her or the actual Shredder.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're definitely opened up the possibility of that happening now.
That'll be cool if that's they want to bring him back.
Yep.
But yeah, I would like to see him back, but I would like to see her also as like the Shredder, like take that role, like evil.
You could do her first, and then he sacrifices himself to not let her be corrupted anymore, and then you get a second arc with him as the Shredder again. Yeah. So you get two arcs of Shredder.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's things that happen in between, but that way you get your Shredder with the Turtles, like
exactly
how you're used to.
Yeah.
That's a cool. That if they
bring him back or something like that.
Do something like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Where were we at?
So Hale says that Karai left orders that she doesn't want to be disturbed. Right. Hale doesn't know what she's working on.
Right.
And that he only has one interest, and that's to protect the people from the mutants, and to erase mutant town where all the mutants are, at the borough that we were talking about that they now have in New York. Right. So that's his goal. Like, he wants to get rid of all of that.
And I wonder if Karai knew that. Or if that's something he kind of kept to
Yeah.
himself and was like, yeah, I'll make sure everybody stays busy. And then as soon as she's left, he's like, okay, my
I
opportunity.
think she did know that.
You think?
Yeah, because I think that's the way how she's thinking ahead. Like, I'm speculating here. Maybe she's thinking that's how we can keep the Ninja Turtles occupied because they're going to be wanting to save their kind,
So
the mutants. So then she'll be off in another world, what she's doing right here,
Right.
walking into this portal or whatever,
Yeah.
doing other things that she wants to do without any disturbance from the Hamato clan. You know what I mean? So
do you think she told him, but hey, our mutants are Foot Clan mutants, like Bebop, Rocksteady,
they're off limits.
They're off limits. You think?
Yeah,
he told her,
I'm
told
sure.
him that?
I'm sure because they're part of the Foot Clan.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay, that makes sense. Then I wonder how they're gonna feel when Hale starts going after the mutants. Because
Maybe they'll turn on him and
Because
turn on her too in that way.
because some of them they're
But-
not evil.
No,
Like the frog that's with them, he's not evil.
but Bebop and Rocksteady,
They don't
they
really
don't
care.
really care. They're kind of
Yeah.
just in it for themselves. They don't
Yeah.
really care.
And then the snake or the snake one, I think that's Krissa, right?
I think so.
And
I forget
she-
the name.
Yeah, I get her and the scorpion. They're friends. I always get them mixed
Well,
up.
the Scorpion one got
Kidnapped.
taken.
Yeah,
because she left
right.
or something.
But one of them's still there, and she's not
That's
that
the
evil.
snake one.
She
I
like
forget her name.
turned over a new leaf during the
Yeah.
Armageddon game.
Yeah.
So how are they gonna feel when they start seeing mutants start getting like killed and like in prison?
Maybe
and stuff?
they might be the ones to like inform
The
the
turtles.
turtles, like, hey, this is what's happening, and it was Karai that put him in charge, so we need your help or something, or try
right.
to give him information, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
But I think she definitely knows.
Okay.
I mean, she's using magic too, like, so she can see.
I think she knows, but it's because of the influence of the dragon.
Uh-huh.
I think the regular Cry before she got possessed is too smart to do something so
Yeah.
rash.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's jump back into what's happening. Hale tells Casey now
Mm-hmm.
that he'll give Casey one last chance.
Yeah.
The same chance that Karai gave Hale,
Yeah.
he says.
Yeah.
And he drops the same like spiked club, the mace thing,
Mm-hmm.
on the floor, in the center of the floor. And he's like, come at me, bro.
Yeah.
Like you versus me.
Mm-hmm.
And like Casey's kind of like, "It's okay. Like I'm,
Yeah.
gonna whoop your ass. Like what are
Yeah.
you talking about? I'm Casey Jones.
Yeah.
You're just some guy. Like you have no chance.
Mm-hmm.
And so Casey kind of doesn't believe him. At first he's like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
And Hale tells him like, no, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just a proud New Yorker.
Yeah.
And that he's determined to get all of the mutants.
Yeah. So Hale orders the Foot Clan to let Casey go.
Yeah.
But Casey is hesitant. Then he makes like a break for it, like to go get this spiky club thingy.
Yep.
He goes after it, and then we hear some more of Hale's inner monologue.
Right. Like at the beginning.
Like at the beginning, yeah. And this time, it's him talking to his parents.
Right.
And he says, I'm finally doing it, the work I was always meant for,
Yep.
And he talks about how he's serving this ungrateful city, and he's doing this all in honor of his parents. And then he begins to talk about Karai.
Right. He like mentions that Karai, before she left him one objective. This is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
This is the part where he says it. He says that part of the objective was to keep the enemies of the Foot Clan occupied.
Yeah.
And that to do this, he was given a group of highly trained killers. So
Yes.
this Foot squad that he has. And then he says that, yeah, and he did put him to work. These assassins have already been sent all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's talking about the foot soldiers that went after the turtles in the first 4 issues. That was
Yeah.
him. He made that call
Yeah.
to do that. So it wasn't Karai that made that call. That was him.
That was him. Yeah.
But I guess with Karai's blessing, as far as we know,
Yeah.
we'll see what it's like when Karai gets back.
Mm-hmm,
I'm curious to see what their dynamic is like. If she's like, what the hell were you doing? Or
Yeah.
good.
Or good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
Then-
knew you were going to do that anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you'll know a little bit better what's going on.
Yeah.
Then he says that Karai also gave him an even greater weapon, the entire city.
Mm-hmm.
That it's going to be a city remade in his image. And what that means for Clan Hamato, the turtles, is a city of death. So he has been given the green light to kill them. It's kind of hinting at. Again, we won't know until they meet back up, him and Karai.
And then we get a pretty dark moment here.
Yeah, this part's wild.
You see him standing at like the foot of his parents' gravestone, and he's still talking to them.
Right.
And he's thinking to himself, like, well, I wonder what they would have thought of him now.
Yeah.
With everything he's done.
All the power and like, status he's gained. And
then he's seen everything that he's done by having that DA that he pushed off of that bridge.
Yes.
You remember that in the first issue?
Yep. So he called.
Yeah.
At least he got that guy killed.
Yeah, he did.
So he can kill.
Yeah. And it seems like he's been working with Karai for a while now, because obviously that's been a while.
Since then. He doesn't even have the black eye anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So this is, right now, what we're seeing in this part of the comic is like later on. It's more like present time, I guess.
Yes.
And then...
it's almost like he's learning to like killing.
Yes. She's corrupted him even more, maybe?
Or maybe he was just like a...
Or that's all he needed was that little push of like, you know...
he was like a tinderbox, ready to
do all this anyway.
Yes.
So it was only a matter of time, I guess, you know?
I wonder if she knew that. Or if she kind of underestimated him.
Maybe.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
And then there at the cemetery, we see that the Foot Clan brings that mutant that supposedly killed his parents. And...
they like pull him out of a van, right?
They pull him out of a van, and then just he looks terrified, and he's there, and they bring him to Hale. Yeah, it's nighttime, and they bring him to Hale, and then Hale has that club thing, with the spikes on it, and he
bashes his head.
Dude, and it's
like
crazy.
It was pretty dark. It's like, remember The Walking Dead where Negan like smashed...
That's what I was thinking about,
It's kind of in that vibe where it's like, holy crap, this guy is like no joke. I think he's got a taste for blood now, and he's liking it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyways, we jump back over to Casey and Hale. So this is all happening while... this is inner monologues happening while Casey's picking up the spiky club thing where he's at. So now... this is like the present.
Yeah.
You're right. The other part was kind of like more current.
Yeah.
But this is like now.
Yeah.
And Casey is like, you want me to come at you with this spiky club? Like,
are you sure?
Yeah. And then in this moment, you get one last little bit of monologue from Hale where he goes that he actually doesn't wonder what his parents would think of him that much.
Yeah.
He kind of does, but not really, because at the end of the day, he knows that they would be proud of him. And this is when, like, while this is all happening, Casey's like ranting, like, I have the club, I can beat you, just let me go, I'm seriously going to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
You know? He's just kind of, Casey doesn't actually want to hurt anybody. He's just like, he's trying to let him know, like, dude,
I can hurt you.
I can take all these guys out now that I have this club. Like, what is this? And as Casey's ranting, Hale just pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Oh my God, I know.
And you see Casey falling backwards.
I know.
And then you hear Hale, this whole time he's been saying it, but this is like the last time he says it. He goes, my name is Hieronymus Hale. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
The first name. But then he says, the King of New York.
Yeah.
So.
As he shoots
Casey.
Spoiler.
Oh, I mean, this whole thing is.
I mean,
I'll put a spoiler alert at the beginning, but yeah.
No, not Casey.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But now that magic's been introduced, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People can come back from the dead.
Most likely, but it does come with a price, as you saw in the Destiny of the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
Usually when somebody comes back from the dead, it's because somebody sacrifices themselves. It gives them like their life force. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
So if Casey does come back, it'll be because likely Karai sacrifices herself for somebody.
Talking about that, I wanted to ask you, what did you think of this whole issue and Karai and all of that?
Okay. We have unless Hale is a villain from a turtle story I don't know about, this is an all new original villain.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of cool. We never seen anything like this before.
He kind of reminds me of in the Daredevil, the guy with the
Kingpin?
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of him a little bit.
Okay.
And along with like other
He's kind of like a mix of like Kingpin, a little bit Negan from The Walking Dead.
A little bit of
He was bad.
Yeah, a little bit of what's his name? Al Capone.
A little Tony Soprano.
Tony Soprano, yeah.
He's like
A mixture of all those villains, those bad guys. I also wanted to ask you, there was moments in Mutant Nation and in Destiny of the Foot Clan. What did you think? I got a hint. I don't know. I could be just...
No, I know where you're going with this. I got the same thing.
I got the hint that Casey and Karai like each other, but they don't... Obviously, it's not like... They're not like...
It's not obvious.
Yeah, but they have some kind of feelings for each other.
I felt like she had feelings for him at one point.
Yeah.
For like a second. It was like a split second.
Yeah.
And then it never happened again. But I
feel like he did too.
I feel like in the old Mirage comics, something like that did happen.
Okay.
And that was a different continuity altogether.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to like be like...
Tap into that.
Tap into like, oh, that happens here too. But
Yeah.
because on that one, it never got expanded on.
Yeah.
It like happened towards the very end of their run.
Yeah.
They just never finished it.
Yeah.
So that continuity never got a conclusion.
Yeah.
In
But
this
yeah,
one, maybe they're trying to do like a full arc about it.
Yeah.
Of him and her. Maybe they fall.
I mean,
in
I
love or something.
could be wrong. Maybe I'm just like reading it it
was
way
very,
they're
yeah.
it was kind of
subtle.
But I'm like, this looks kind of like it can go there. Like if that's what they wanted to
I
do.
wouldn't be mad at it.
No, I wouldn't either.
That'd be an interesting dynamic, especially if April still loves him, and so it's got April and Karai and him.
Because
like,
there was a point where she taps into his like he talks to April in one of those issues that we just mentioned.
Right, on the phone.
And she Karai is spying on his conversations.
That's what
and
it
she
was.
says to the dragon that's inside of her, like, oh, see, he tells her, see, he's not to be trusted. He's talking to
The dragon
your
tells
enemy or whatever. And she's like, no, he could be trusted. And I just don't like when he talks to April.
Yes,
So
that's
I'm
what
like,
it was.
what?
That's what it was.
Like,
yeah.
what is it, because she's part of like, the Turtles is group, or is it because she kind of has some kind of
It's probably a little
jealousy
bit of both.
feelings, you know what I mean?
It's probably a little bit of
And
both.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's the
So
vibe I got.
yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at it.
But yeah.
But yeah, that's where it ends. But yeah, overall, things are picking up.
Yeah.
Those first 4 issues were very like one turtle, isolated, small story. This is getting more complex now.
I knew it wasn't just her, Karai, like just wanting to get the turtles, like coming after them, because the whole time, 1, 2, 3, and 4 were like, the Foot Clan was coming after the turtles, so we're like, well, what's happening? Why?
Right.
Like, why? I thought they had a peace between them.
Yeah.
Well, they did, but then now we see why Karai has that dragon
Right.
in her, So now we see why the foot soldiers were following the turtles this whole time. It was her, but it's not really directly her, because in the 150 issues and earlier, there were like a peace between them, kind of, and so they weren't really...
It's hard to say if she's okay to the turtles dying. That I'm not sure about, because she's all about honor, right? And her word is her honor.
But now she has that evil
inside her.
dragon thing in her, so I think it's kind of messing with her, the way she's...
It's messing with like her... I don't know if she's okayed killing the turtles. I don't know if that's like an audible that Hale has called. Like, she didn't say I can't kill the turtles.
Just keep them busy.
Yeah, so to him, maybe he's like, I can kill the turtles.
Yeah.
Since she didn't say I can't.
Yeah.
And maybe she's going to be pissed at him when she gets back. I don't know.
So,
what about you? What do you think? Just overall liking it?
Yeah, I like it. I want to see where it goes. Like, I'm actually like excited, and I want to keep reading and seeing the rest of reading about the rest of the issues that come out afterwards. I think it's gonna be good.
We'll see.
I think it's still good.
Yeah, that's it for issue 5, though. Let's jump into a quick preview for issue 6.
Yeah.
And just kind of see what we're going to be covering in the next podcast. Okay, so we're going to look at the preview for the next issue, you can see we're over here on bleedingcool.com. And they were the ones that did the preview for issue 6. And we're just kind of going to skim through the images and kind of give our thoughts. That way we can, get a little tease for the next podcast we're going to do. So you can see that the next one is still part of the Return to New York arc that we're on. Return to New York Part 6. And this one's going to be called 4 Busted Knuckles.
Okay.
Interesting. Because the turtles only have 3 fingers. That's the first thing I thought of when I read that. So.
Okay.
Whose knuckles are they talking about?
I don't know.
So you see the first image here. You got all 4 turtles. By the way, this issue, no turtles in it.
You're right. They're not in it.
That's wild.
That's wild.
What a bold move.
Yeah.
Because I thought, after issues 1 through 4, we were going to get the turtles all together in issue 5. What a bold move not to have it. I don't think it suffered. I didn't, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. So it does look like we're getting them all together, though, in this issue, finally. This is it. The turtles are back. The band's back together.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're all... It looks like they're back in New York. Yeah, here the next image. Yeah, they're back in New York. This looks like the Hudson River.
Yeah.
Yeah. This looks like... This looks like the Hudson River.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like... So yeah, they're back. They're back in town. They're at some, dock. And they're making their way back into the sewers, it looks like. And we'll put that up on full screen for everybody. Yeah. You can see that something starts happening here.
They start arguing.
Yeah, specifically Michelangelo and Raphael.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going on. And they've kind of been beefing since, we saw...
them get together.
Together, yeah.
Issue 2.
Michelangelo really feels like his brothers abandoned him. And when he saw Raphael, he started punching Raphael, and fighting with him. And it looks like it's the resentment here is continuing. Looks like Michelangelo says something about he got fired from his show because he left and stuff. So he's upset at Raphael. And Donatello is kind of watching all this happen to them, the two of them argue.
By the way, he's still holding that dead rat with the hole in its head.
Yeah, so he thinks this is Splinter, reincarnated.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Donnie here.
Me too.
And Mikey is about to tell Donatello, that's not Splinter, that's just a dead rat. But Raphael can kind of tell what Donatello's going through. And he's like, shut up, Michelangelo.
Don't tell him. Let him believe whatever he wants to believe. He's so messed up in his head.
Yeah, you're going to mess him up even more if you tell him. And this causes Michelangelo and Raphael to start arguing even more to the point where Raphael ends up punching Mikey in the face. At least that's what we're seeing here in the preview. And that's where the preview ends. So they are all back together, but...
Yeah. They're not one big happy family.
No. This is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. But
yeah,
that's it for this podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the next issue.
Yeah, this is issue 6 that's coming out.
This would be issue 6, yeah.
And we're going to try to get that out before issue 7 drops. Issue 7 drops at the end of this month.
Okay.
So we want to get fully caught up to where we're covering the one that just released.
Yeah.
Which looks like we're on track now.
Yeah. Maybe we can record it next week.
Yeah, we'll record it next week, and then it should be out a few days after that. So thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Hope you're enjoying the podcast.
Yep.
I'm enjoying this more and more the more we keep doing it.
Me too.
I liked it at the beginning, but
me too.
I feel like we're really, we're going now. Heck yeah. So
make sure to subscribe.
Subscribe, everybody. Hit like, comment, leave your comments down below. What are your theories?
Yeah.
It helps with the algo when you guys all comment and stuff.
Yeah.
Lets the algo know that you're interested in the video, and it shares it to more people and stuff like that. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Take care.
Come back here! I'm not finished with you! Damn!